Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I'll be substituting tonight for Councillor Brown. And before I start this meeting, I would just like to say that I'm sure from all of us that our thoughts and prayers are with the Queen and her family on these very worrying times. What I will be doing throughout the meeting is watching Victoria and other councillors who could signal me if there has been an announcement. What I will do is stop this meeting and we'll adjourn it to a more appropriate time, unless anybody's got anything. Okay, thank you. So, just go through the agenda. Evacuations. A fire drill is not expected, so if an alarm sounds, please evacuate the building quickly and calmly. Please use the stairs and do not use the lifts. Once out of the building, please gather outside the Lloyds Bank on the opposite side of the road. Exit by the doors by which you entered the room, or by the fire exit, which are clearly indicated by the standard green fire exit signs. If you need any assistance in evacuating the building, please make yourself known to a member of staff. The meeting is being live streamed and recorded for future publication on the council's website. Please can I ask that you turn your mobile phone is off or turn to silent for the duration of the meeting. Also, can I ask that you've all signed in and signed in on the fire register, and we need to sign out when we leave the building. Item number 2 is apologies. Victoria? Okay, thank you. Item number 3 is the minutes that were on the 9th of June. Can I sign them as a true and correct record? Do I get a second? Jack? Councillor Kane. Sorry. Declarations of interest. Members declared the interest. Is everybody happy with what's wrote down? Very good. Item number 5, public consultation. Victoria, you've not been indicated of any public consultation. Okay, item 6, questions to the Cabinet. Now, we have 2 Cabinet members here tonight, so are there any questions to the Cabinet members in attendance? Okay, thank you. Item 7. Update on the leisure operator procurement. A report of the leisure and health manager. The report provides the panel with an update on the leisure operator procurement. The panel are asked to accept and to note the update. I'm sure you've all had time to go through everything. Are you happy to accept what's wrote down and you're happy with the update? So can I? Yeah? Okay, thank you. Right, item number 8, integrated performance report. Victoria, we're doing this on the sports. Okay, so is that on streaming? Okay. Yeah, okay. Katie, are you there?
Good evening, Councillor. Hi there. I can give you an update. So the purpose of the update was just to kind of give you an overview of the progress since the last time we updated at the last OSP. We've had some workshops with some members back in May 22 to kind of go over a few areas that we thought were priorities to discuss and get some input on in relation to the new leisure contract for our leisure sites across the borough. Some of the key areas that we've discussed over the last couple of months include procurement, scoping, the key visions and ambitions, social value, the environmental sustainability of the contract, energy management and utilities, looking at the active environment and obviously the additions that will be coming into the contract with the new physical activity hub, as well as some other key areas which go into a lot more detail on Appendix A, which is obviously the feedback from those workshops that we've held. We're anticipating that as the specification will be drafted over the next couple of months, and we're going to hold a further workshop with those members of the working group, just to discuss some more specific points around policies, such as concessionary pricing and some of the risk elements of the contract as well. The specification will be drafted in full around December 22, and we are anticipating to get the tender process launched in April 23. The specification is being developed in relation to the Sport England contract model, and we're using that template to bring the new contract and documents together as well. Obviously, I've attached onto this report the procurement timetable that we're working towards as well, so that there's a clear view of kind of the processes that we're going to and the timings that will achieve those. Back over to you, Chair, if there are any questions.
Yeah, thank you, Katie. Is there any questions of Katie? No questions, Katie. It looks like you got away okay there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, right, item number 8, the integrated performance report. Is Steve taking us through this, Victoria? Okay, Steve, are you there?
Yep, I am, Chair, thank you.
Okay, take it away.
Will do. On the last round of scrutiny panels, I mentioned that we felt that we could do a bit more in relation to the content. Specifically, that related to minimising the duplication of scrutiny across the 3 panels. So I'm going to go straight into the summary for the latest quarter, and I'll pick up those items on content as I go through. So Appendix A, performance linked to finance. Previously, all 20 of the available performance measures came to the panel. But having reviewed the information, strictly speaking, under the remit of the panel, there are now 7 measures included. And this means that the split across the 3 panels is 7 measures, and 6 measures respectively. No finance data is available for the first quarter due to ongoing issues with staff turnover and recruitment. And that said, the results for the first quarter 2022-23 for Appendix A show that of the 7 measures that now come to this panel, 2 have improved, 3 declined, 1 stayed the same, and 1 has no trend. The 3 declined measures are processing of new benefits claims, collection of council tax, and the percentage of waste recycled and composted. Appendix B, the strategic risk register. The register is now also tailored to meet the individual needs of each scrutiny panel. Appendix B now shows the summary for the complete document, followed by a summary and details of the risks relating to this panel. At the last round of OSPs, there were 2 questions also raised, one related to ordering the risks by importance. And so what we've now done is ordered the risks in both the full document and those that come to the panel in order of net, red, amber and green. Net meaning given the mitigations that we've put in place. The second query related to the number of abbreviations in the document. We're trying to keep the narrative to a minimum, so where an abbreviation is first used, we have used the full description. And there are a couple of exceptions to this. If I could refer the panel to page 37 of the document, the agenda. I'll give you a chance just to get to that. The only exceptions are under the end column, risk owner, portfolio holder / scrutiny panel, and they're all shown as abbreviations. Also in the mitigation owner column, where there's a director mentioned, that is also abbreviated. It just seemed that this is the most practical way of doing it, keeping the information to a minimum. So that's the route we've gone down. In relation to the second quarter, Appendix B shows that and there are 11 of the 17 risks within the register come to this panel. So of those 11 risks, none are red, 4 are amber, and 7 are green. The key updates for the risks within the remit of this panel are R7 breakdown of council services. A mitigation has been added relating to the flexibility of working between the Town Hall and Gresham Road Depot. R10 effectively manage the council's resources. We've added mitigations in relation to a computer upgrade, and non-domestic rates refunds reserves are in place. R20, the pandemic, the net risk has been amended to amber from red. R22, failure to deliver the sub-regional recycling facility. 2 mitigations have been added relating to the annual audit of accounts and the monitoring of supply, construction and inflation issues. R25 has been added as a new risk, information management and data protection regulations. This is replacing R14 and R21, which were separate risks. So basically the 2 risks are now combined in one. Appendix C, the executive summary to the strategic performance report. At the end of the first quarter, 9 of the risks were green, 2 were amber and 4 were red. The amber and red measures, which are shown under areas for improvement, are processing of new benefits claims, working days lost to short-term sickness absence, short-term return to work interview compliance, agency staff spend, building a better borough monitoring, and health and safety monitoring. Appendix D, freedom of information and environmental information requests summary, shows that 176 were received, 174 completed, 34 were late, that is over 20 days, and outstanding there were 2. And finally, the complaints summary at Appendix E shows that 279 complaints were received, 270 completed, 79 of these were late, and that's over 10 days, and outstanding were 9. That completes the summary, Chair.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. Does any members have any questions for Steve on the integrated performance report? Councillor Walsh.
Thank you, Chair. A couple of quick questions, Steve. With regards to the freedom of information and complaints, are we reducing the outstanding and the lates because they're very high? In particular, where are we? One of the outstanding complaints, we've got 71 days. That seems rather extreme, given the fact that I think is it 10 days on a complaint?
It is 10 days, yeah.
So how do we get to a point of 71 days?
Well, I know that there's an officer in place designated to reduce this, and he's done quite a lot of outstanding work, if you'll excuse the pun, because the number outstanding used to be quite significantly higher. And I can't explain why certain ones would get to excessive days, and I agree that is concerning. But I say there's an officer, a designated officer in place now, and the improvements he's made in the last 3 to 6 months have been exceptional, really.
Thank you. I've got another question regarding risk 4 with relation to the failure to maintain economic vibrancy within the borough and town centres. That comes under, does that not come under 2 different OSPs? Because we're talking economic vibrancy, would it not come under this one as well as my business and regeneration?
Well, having reviewed it with management team, there is only one risk that was placed across 2 or more than one panel, and that was R6, which related to arson. So where possible, they allocated to a single OSP. And as I say, R6 was the only one that they couldn't decide exactly and felt that it should go to both, or the 2, I forget which one, housing and finance, I believe.
Okay, thank you. Does that Oh,
Thank
sorry,
you. Just,
sorry, one word
sorry.
for...
Just basically to say that, yeah, the fact that you've split up the risks and reduced the level of, or the content of the risk register based on the various OSPs, that's going to be a considerable improvement for all, Chair, I believe, for that reason. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Walsh. Does anybody else have anything for Steve whilst he's here? Can I just say that if you do have anything that later on that you've picked up later on or you would like to raise with Steve, can you send the questions to Victoria and she'll send them in the appropriate direction to get you an answer. So, okay, thank you, Steve. Thank you for that. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Okay, moving on then. Item 9, managing attendance of the council's workforce. A report of the Edit of People and Culture. The report provides the panel with the 2021-22 end of the year performance for sickness, absence, scrutinies, the work activity and trends relating to the attendance management of the council's workforce, and considers additional initiatives that have been used in an effort to improve attendance. The recommendations are at number 2, and the panel is asked to note the recommendations for information. So, who's that? Okay. Oh, Ruth. Sorry. Ruth, are you there?
Yes, good evening, councillors. Thank you very much, Chair.
You've, okay, it's over to you then, Ruth.
Thank you. You've just done a grand job of opening my report for me. Thank you, Chair. So, yes, happy to take some questions. It just shows some trends in data. Obviously, in the main, it deals with sickness, absence and data from the end of last financial year, but it does cover previous years to that, just to show some of the trends. Obviously, over the last couple of years, we've had the issue with COVID in there as well, which is included, and there's some narrative along those lines, but I'm happy to take any questions on any content of the report.
Okay, thank you, Ruth. Is anybody got any questions for Ruth while she's online? Councillor Canley.
Thank you, Chair. The question more just about, it's on page 91 for the reasons for absence. I think I asked a very similar question last year when this a similar report came to this committee, that mental health is obviously a very serious issue, and I'm glad to see so many people take it seriously as well, but it has been on the increase over the last couple of years, with a slight decline on last year for the 21-22 financial year. I'm just wondering if the council still has support systems in place for staff that are easily accessible for staff and actually provides the support needed to not just reduce hours to absence, but also to support mental well-being of MBBC's staff. Thank you.
Ruth, would you like to answer that?
Of course, Chair. Yes, thank you very much, Councillor. Yes, we have a number of initiatives specifically aimed at mental health. So we have a designated employee assistance programme, which is free and confidential for staff to access, and there is quite a high usage of that. We also have recently, in the last 6 months or so, implemented a mental health and wellbeing action plan for employees. So they fill that in every year or however regularly they need to, which details their triggers and any support or anything that managers might be able to put into place for them. And we currently have a group of mental health first aiders going through their training. So they are available as well. So we do take it quite seriously. We have designated stress risk assessments as well. But the EAP, I would say, is very heavily used, which is a positive thing. Of course, it's, you know, people access it quite freely.
Does that answer your question? Okay, thank you. Councillor Walsh.
Thank you, Chair. Ruth, just a question regarding the return to work interviews. The 5+ days were at nearly 23% of the total. That seems rather high, and it's certainly the highest over the last 3 years. Is there a particular reason for that?
Ruth?
Yes, So reasons do vary. We do capture the reasons on the system. So some of it can be the employee has gone straight onto leave, or the manager is on leave when they return to work, which obviously causes some delays. Some of it may be that we're waiting additional information from occupational health or support from HR to undertake the return to work. But of course, there is just for some of them that there is no mitigating circumstances. So in liaison with the employment committee and management team, those where there is a continued failure to meet the return to work compliance, managers are being set improvement notes for that performance now.
Does that answer your question, Councillor Walsh? Thank you. Any further questions for Ruth? Oh, sorry, Councillor Green.
Good evening. I'm just looking at the benchmarking data on page 92, and we're comparing ourselves with Rugby and North Warwickshire, in my opinion, quite similar areas, but we haven't got any data from the south of the county. Aren't we just comparing apples with apples? Wouldn't it be better to look at more affluent areas of the county to get a better comparison?
Ruth, would you like to answer that?
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. So I do go out to a wider area to seek benchmarking information, but it's very reliant on people actually getting back to me. And I have noticed in the last couple of years, especially, the length of time and the replies are lacking somewhat. So as and when it becomes available, I can add to that benchmarking data. But at the time of writing the report, that's all the information I had, unfortunately.
Does that answer your question, Councillor Green?
Yeah, thank you for that, but I think we do need a better comparison with different areas.
Yeah, Ruth, I know you said you're trying, but if we could continue to try and contact other councils, but I'm sure that the reason that Rugby's on here is because it's the closest sort of size to us as well. And North Warwickshire. But Ruth, if you could just take that away as an action to continue trying.
Of course, Chair. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Ms. Ross.
Could Ruth explain what agile working is, please? It's a term I haven't come across, and it would be interesting to hear.
Yeah. Over to you, Ruth.
Okay, so there is, you've probably heard hybrid working and agile working used in conjunction with each other, especially during the pandemic. There is actually a difference. So hybrid working would be where there's a combination of working in the town hall, for example, and at home. So that would be on a set basis, 2 days at home, 3 days in the office, as an example. Agile working is a bit more fluid than that. So it's not set contractually to say that you must work in one place for 2 days and you must work somewhere else for 3 days. Agile working is more about being able to work anywhere. So having the device and the equipment to be able to, so for example, myself, I work from home. I also pop into the depot and work from there. I pop in work from the town hall. So in theory, I could work anywhere. And that's what agile means as opposed to hybrid. Hopefully that explains it somewhat.
Yeah, thank you, Ruth. Is that everything, Mrs. Ross? Mrs. Ross? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Right, if there's no further questions for Ruth, then thank you very much, Ruth, and good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to item 10. I've got a progress report here on the changing places facilities. So the introduction, changing places toilets are larger accessible toilets for severely disabled people with equipment such as hoists, privacy screens, adult sized changing benches, peninsula toilets and spaces for carers. A successful application was made for funding of £100,000 to the Ministry of Housing and Communities and Local Government in September 2021 to deliver 2 changing places facilities in Nuneaton and Bedworth. It is proposed that these facilities will take the form of 2 purpose-built pod units that can be quickly and easily located. Pod units, ready fitted with all equipment required to meet changing places standards with a compliant layout and design. Changing places pods can be designed to match with existing buildings and can be modified to fit each environment or can be branded to form a cohesive part of your infrastructure. Changing places pods have a 10-year structure warranty and 35 plus years of expectancy. The funding provided is capital only. Local authorities will be expected to cover the ongoing costs of maintenance of the facilities, estimated at £20,000 per year. It is expected that local authorities will provide co-funding to maximise the impact of the government funding and to manage the development of ongoing maintenance of the new changing places toilets. The update is based on the feedback and engagement conducted as part of this funding programme, which identified the importance to users of having days out, taking part in enjoying leisure sport activities. The 2 following locations were identified to locate the pod units. Bedworth, complete pod unit adjacent to the Mayor's Cafe. Nuneaton, complete pod unit adjacent to the Pingles Leisure Centre. Site visits to both locations have been completed to identify the provision of water waste and power supplies. Additional works identified to integrate the units into the locations and to ensure security and access. The tender document is being completed for the purpose and delivery of the 2 units. Initial conversations have taken place with everybody active and people in action in relation to the pods. Meetings about with the Muscular Dystrophy UK representative outlining our proposal for the installation of the units and to provide guidance for the tender document and specifications. The current funding position, capital of 100,000 for the purchase of the two units funded, utility connections 25,000 provision via capital programme, additional works to integrate the units into the locations, funding application submitted of for £50,000. Revenue costs are estimated at £20,000 per annum for the 2 locations, including cleaning, maintenance and servicing costs. UKSPF funding application submitted for £35,000. The next steps are to complete the tender process and agree timelines for installation. Working drawing to be completed, construction work at each location. So as of today, that is what has happened, a brief description, what has happened, where we are and the next steps. If there is any questions on this, again, please send them to Victoria and Victoria will send them off in the right direction and we'll get them back to you. So that was just really for noting. The next on the agenda is item 11, the forward plan. So usually just go through the forward plan and see if everybody is happy with that. So that's on page 98. Usually everybody is happy unless they would like something adding to that. Or what I usually ask is if people to look through it and if they're not happy with the time scale, then ask if something comes forward. But if you're happy with how it's wrote down, and then we'll just take that as it is. Has anybody got anything on that? No. Okay. Brilliant. Item 12, work programme for approval. That's in the addendum. So it's in the agenda. Right, okay. Right, okay. Yes, sorry, yeah, it's it. So on the work programme, then if there's anything that anybody would like to alter or move, Is everybody happy with it as it is? Okay, brilliant, thank you. So item 13 then is for any other items. Is there any member of the panel got anything for any future or anything that they'd like to bring up at this minute? No? Okay, thank you. Oh, sorry? Oh, sorry. Councillor.
So, sorry, could I just ask when the financial data, the missing financial data on pages 22 to 24 will be available?
I can ask for you. At the moment, we don't have a head of audit.
Right.
I imagine you're going to have to wait for a little while. Councillor Croft may have some more information.
Oh, hello. Right. Okay. Sorry, I've just been informed that we've had some news now, and the Queen has passed away. So we'll call an end to this meeting.